So, you're wanting to buy a hula hoop, but you don't know what kind to buy. You came to the right place. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Angela, or Lil Hoop Girl. And today I am doing a super duper important video for you all. I get asked this question probably 5 times a week on my hoop account on Instagram, so I wanted to go over the basics and my experience that I've had when it comes to buying a hula hoop. I'm going to go over the do's and don'ts, tips and tricks that I have learned throughout my 4 years of buying hoops. The amount of money I've spent on hoops is probably over $1,000. Damn, that's a lot of money. I have no regrets because it's the best thing that I've ever done. I'm gonna break this video down into 3 different segments. The first part is hula hoop tubing. The second part is HDPE versus POLYPRO. And for part 3, we're gonna go over the hoop diameter sizing. So this is super important if you wanna nail some certain tricks off or on body, kind of my suggestions on what size you should get. Just a little insight, I don't know everything. So let's dive right in, shall we? We're gonna jump right into hoop tubing. So I have 3 sizes here for you. I have the purple, which is a 3/4 inch, the red, which is going to be the 11/16 inches, and the kind of light blue is going to be a 5/8 inch. So these are probably 3 of the most popular sizes, hoop tubing sizes that you can get for POLYPRO or HDPE. This purple one, the 3/4, is going to be the chunkiest one of the 3. This is a great hoop for beginners if you're going from a super heavy weighted kind of plastic PE hoop and you want to go to a POLYPRO or HDPE. I recommend POLYPRO more. I would definitely jump into this 3/4. This was my hoop tubing size for the first 2.5 years I hooped. I really do enjoy it. However, I will say that some people really off the bat like to do 5/8. This is going to be the skinniest of the 3. The main difference between these 3, especially between the 3/4 and the 5/8, this one is so much lighter. The 5/8 is a lot more flimsy, it's faster, you can do quicker moves. I think it is something that you definitely have to get used to. I was always a 3/4 girl, and then I moved down to 11/16 when I thought, okay, I need something just a little bit lighter, but I hated 5/8 until just recently. What's interesting is that I also do lend out 5/8 tubing to people who are just starting to hoop. They absolutely love it. They think that is the best size for them, and then whenever they hold a 3/4 inch tubing, they're like, boy, this is too chunky. I really just recommend maybe starting with the 3/4, seeing how you feel, or maybe start with a 5/8 if you're wanting more of a thinner model from the get-go. So when it comes to HDPE and POLYPRO, I did a little bit of research before I made this video. Truly, if I'm talking about how I feel about the two, POLYPRO is the way to go. I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but POLYPRO is the most popular. Every person that I run into has a POLYPRO instead of an HDPE, except maybe 2 people. Really, the main difference is POLYPRO is going to be a little more sturdy. It's a little more harder. I do not have an HDPE hoop. Like literally all 45 plus of my hoops are POLYPRO. With HDPE, I read that it's a good hoop for beginners. It is a little bit lighter. I personally, this is how I feel about it. I guess like a really good pro to HDPE versus POLYPRO is, you know, it is a little bit lighter and it's not as sturdy and hard. And so when it comes to really harsh weathers and it's super cold outside, it's not as fragile to break and snap, which is what POLYPRO does. So do not leave these in your car overnight like I do. Don't do it, man. I have lost probably 2 or 3 hoops just from not bringing it in, and it's winter time. So take my advice. You know, POLYPROs do snap, so that is something that you guys gotta be careful, but just bring your babies inside. Don't leave them in the car, okay? And just buy a POLYPRO hoop. That is my advice. And finally, my favorite part of the video, where I talk about how I went from a 40-inch massive PE hoop to a tiny 25-inch hoop, POLYPRO 5/8, aka my baby. I unfortunately do not have my very first hoop that I own, that 40-inch that I just talked about. I threw it away when I moved. Really what I'm trying to get at here is what hoop size is good for what. If you're a beginner, intermediate, want to go smaller, want to go bigger, what size is good for what moves and why you should buy it and what hoop tubing size. As I said, I had a 40-inch PE hoop. I'm going to throw a picture right here. So it is going to be the heavy plastic that is weighted, that has tape around it normally, and it is great for people who are just picking up a hoop for the very first time, and they think, okay, what I want to do is I want a waist hoop, I want a chest hoop, I want to do some knee hooping, I want to go from like a waist to a lasso up in the air, like do that move. If that is truly like all that you're wanting to do, all on body to get that rhythm, and that is exactly how I started, I think that you should get a hoop like that. Make sure it kind of goes up to your belly button region. I would say 40-inch is probably the biggest that you will want to go, unless you're super tall, then maybe go to a 42-inch. But if you're trying to do on and off body, absolutely not. Do not get a heavy weighted PE hoop. Only get the heavy weighted PE hoop that's taped, that I showed you a picture of, if you're just wanting to do more on body rhythmic feel. Moving forward, I have my second hoop that I would recommend if you are a brand new beginner, and it is a 36-inch 3/4 POLYPRO. So remember, 3/4 is the chunkier one. So what I really like about this hoop size, and that it is a POLYPRO, is that it is significantly lighter, and it's a great size for beginners if you're wanting to learn how to maybe do some breaks. You can kind of hear that rhythmic feel. You can learn how to do some paddles. It's a very comfortable move, Nah, man, this move is pretty tricky. But see how you hear that rhythm, and it just sounds really good. There's something magical about a 36. This is also great if you're a beginner trying to learn how to do that waist to lasso, knee hooping as well. It is going to be a tiny bit more challenging because it is a smaller hoop and POLYPRO, but it's really good if you're wanting to do kind of like off body swings, maybe go into some like neck wraps, do some turns and stall. I have some really great beginner tutorials if you're wanting to know some beginner moves. Definitely get this hoop if you're focusing on body majority and you want to do a tiny bit of off body messing around and playing. And the third hoop that I am going to recommend today is a hoop that I always recommend to people who are a day one newbie and they want to know the best hoop they can use for off and on body. I think, in my opinion, that getting a 33 or 34-inch 3/4 POLYPRO is the best hoop to get, and I will tell you why. So the 32-inch hoop was really good for off body. However, I do think for a day one beginner, going to a 33 or a 34-inch is going to be a little better, because the 32-inch felt just a little too small for me. Unfortunately, I don't have a 33 or 34-inch hoop, but just know that that is a great hoop where you can do a combination of off and on body. It is going to feel significantly small, especially if you are playing with that 40-inch PE hoop on the side, but just know that that is a really good hoop for beginners. All right, and the fourth move that I'm going to recommend you today is a hoop that I personally loved. I loved whenever I really started to realize that I love doing off body. This is gonna be the only hoop that I show you today that is not a POLYPRO. It is my LED hoop, and this is a 29-inch 3/4 mood hoop. I first want to say that the 29-inch is going to be significantly smaller than a 33-inch or 34-inch. However, it is perfect for off-body moves, and I think that this is a really good size if you are wanting to do more quicker break some paddles. You know, you can start doing some variations. Cool. Really try to mess with the hoop tubing. So remember, this is a 3/4, 11/16, 5/8. I bought this LED mood hoop whenever I was about a year into hooping. It's not on because it's DED, but it honestly is a great hoop. However, what I would recommend to you, even if you love a 3/4 tube, I regret not buying a 5/8 tubing. So definitely get a 5/8 tubing because LED hoops are heavier. I love this hoop. I am not sponsored by Mood Hoops. Don't think that I am, and I'm branding for them because I'm not. However, Mood Hoops, if you're seeing this, just know that this is a hoop that you are going to invest literally hundreds of dollars in. This is a $400 hoop. This is why people do not let you play with their hoops if you don't know them at a festival or concert, because these are expensive. If you're investing in something, you want it to last and you want it to benefit you for many years. So the thing that I am personally struggling with right now is that it's too heavy because it's a 3/4 for me. And now I use a 25-inch hoop and look, it's a 29. You see the difference? But definitely buy a 29-inch, 3/4, 11/16, 5/8 POLYPRO hoop. Finally, it's not finally, I still have one more hoop to show you. The 5th hoop I am showing you today is a 27 11/16 POLYPRO. This is a fantastic size if you are wanting to do off-body moves, like truly just off-body moves, maybe just a smidge of on-body. This is probably the most popular off-body hoop that I see very popular hoopers hoop with. It's not too small. This is 11/16. This is the very first hoop that I bought that wasn't a 3/4. This hoop size seriously leveled my flow up probably 2 times in 3 months because it is lighter and I can just do quicker things with it. And it is a hoop that I still really love to use. I think that if you are an off-body hooper, this is perfect for you. And finally, the 6th hoop, aka last hoop that I am going to show you all today, is this 25-inch 5/8 POLYPRO. This is me, baby. Not to be dramatic, but this hoop has maybe changed my life. Yeah, it has. I just want to be clear, I am not going to sit here and recommend you a 25-inch 5/8 POLYPRO hoop, especially if you are new. This hoop is good for people who do a lot of technical stuff, a lot of techie stuff in their flow. I like to do tuts, for example. I'm giving all credit to Madison, who showed me the inspiration behind this. It's just super quick. You see how quick this is? Woo! Truly no on-body at all. I don't like on-body moves that much personally. I think if you're at a 27-inch hoop and you're feeling like maybe you want to go a little smaller, I maybe would recommend doing a 26 or 25. Typically, if you're wanting to change the hoop size, I always recommend going 2 inches smaller or bigger, because if you have a 29-inch and you go to a 28, there's a difference, yes, but it's gonna feel more awkward more than feeling different. We did it. We made it. We went through hoop tubing sizes, the difference between HDPE and POLYPRO, and different sizes and diameter. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments. I would be happy to answer, or you can even DM me on Instagram. And finally, if you liked this video and want to see more, subscribe to me on YouTube. I am very new here, but I am loving the YouTube world. Thank you so much again for watching. I'm giving you an applaud if you've made it this far, and I will see you on the next video.